All right. Are we live? Good morning.
Good morning.
Ellison, am I good to go?
You are, Chair. Please,
right.
let's start our July meeting.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first online SandTech meeting. Bear with us as we work out the kinks. A few housekeeping items. This meeting is being recorded, and there are lots of people on the meeting, so please keep your microphones muted unless you're speaking to help keep the audio of the meeting as clear as possible. There is a limitation on how many video cameras are displayed at once, so if you're inclined to turn on your video camera, please don't unless you're speaking or presenting. Your camera's not required if you do want to speak. For members during the meeting, if you do want to ask a question or make a point, you've got a few options. You can turn on your video to get our attention. You can use the hand raise function or the chat function. Ellison, myself, and the Sandag production team will be monitoring all of those, and we'll recognize you hopefully in the order that we see your requests. From anyone from the public wishing to speak, please use the raised hand function. And members, when it comes time to vote, I believe we will be calling upon each of you to get your vote. Ellison, did I miss anything? Is that were those all the housekeeping items?
I think you hit them all, Chair. We'll be pausing after most of the agenda items to make sure that members of the public do have an opportunity to speak. We do have a few folks that are technically in the public, so we'll make sure that they have their opportunity to chat, to engage SandTech. Okay. We do still have a few members that are over there, and now that we're broadcasting, production team will be able to engage them audio. Is that correct? Our members that are our voting members that are still over on the attendee side.
The voting members that are on attendees side, I think, are on cellular devices, so I cannot move them over. I'm unable to promote them. We
can engage them on audio, though, correct?
They're hearing you, and they can use the hand raise function. You can call on them to talk. Havaripi has her hand up.
Right. All right. Do we want to address Verpi right now, or do we want to go ahead and get started?
I'd say let's go ahead and get started, or I can't see the raised hand. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, we lost it here.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get started, and we'll figure it out as we go.
Absolutely.
Okay. We would typically start with introductions, and we were going to try and go through and have all the members and public kind of say hello, but I think as we've done our mic checks, we've probably heard from everybody, and keeping an eye on the time, we're off to a little bit of a late start, and I know we've got a hard end time today. Ellison, do we need to run through any of the public to say hello, or can we move on?
I think we should move on in the interest of time. We are making note of everyone from the public who is attending our meeting.
Perfect. Okay. Then with that, we'll move on to the approval of the meeting minutes. Hopefully you've had a chance to review it, but I'll give you a minute to take a look at those, and we'll entertain any motions as soon as you're ready to make one.
Chair, this is the production team, and just as a reminder to your members, any that want to make a motion, those that are in the attendee list, they could raise their hand, or those that are able to use their microphone or camera can also call out to make a motion.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have any motions regarding the minutes?
Just as an FYI, I don't think that I ever received the minutes email wise. I have to check it on the website. So anyway, just letting you know.
Who's speaking?
Sorry, this is Ryan Zellers, Del Mar.
Ryan, you didn't get the typical Friday afternoon email with the agenda posting on our Sandag website? I apologize if you didn't get it.
If I did, maybe got buried, just letting you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the minutes
Allison,
are usually there.
I think we did. I never took the time to go and download it and read it. I'm sorry, because of, this working from home versus the office and all that stuff. Things are not as ordinary or regular. So me too. I'm sorry. I really didn't read it. So I can't, consciously make a motion to approve the minute at this time.
All right.
This is Duncan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Jim, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes. I have read them and I was at the February meeting.
Sounds good. Do we have a second?
Chula Vista seconds.
Sounds good. And
Who was that from Chula Vista?
This is Paul.
All right.
Ellison, do we vote?
Yes, we will have Gabe go down the list and obtain everyone's vote. Be patient, everyone. This is one of those parts of the Brown Act remote meeting that takes a little time, so bear with us here. Gabe, will you please call out to the attendees for each jurisdiction in attendance, please?
Yeah, sure.
One comment, the fact that it was so long ago, I personally don't remember if I was there in February or not. Can you make sure that when you're asking, the person was in the February meeting?
So I thank you for the comment. I did hear back from our general counsel regarding this. I know that in the past that I was not allowing folks to approve minutes who weren't in the meeting, but I received advice from our general counsel that members can approve minutes even though they weren't in attendance. So with that advice from our general counsel, please accept that advice and please give us your vote. And if you feel that you need to abstain still, that's quite all right.
Okay. Do you want me to start going down the list, Ellison?
Yes, please.
Okay, we're gonna start off with City of Carlsbad. City of Carlsbad, John Kim, I think, is here. Do you have a vote?
I have, yes.
Okay. Approve. We already got Chula Vista, so we're gonna move on to Coronado. Mr. Chair, do you
Yes.
like to vote? Yes. Okay. City of Del Mar, Mr. Zellers.
Yes to approve?
Okay, approve. City of El Cajon,
Yes.
City of Encinitas.
Yes.
City of Escondido.
We will either take Craig's vote or we can open up to Verpi on the attendee side. Production team, can we bring Verpi on? She has her hand raised.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Yeah, we got that. Thank you. City of Imperial Beach.
Yes.
Was that a yes, correct?
Correct. That's a yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
City of La Mesa.
Yes.
Was that
Was
Mike
that from?
or
Yeah, that was,
Phil?
yes, from Michael.
Okay. City of Lemon Grove. Looks like Mike is raising his hand.
Mike James has his hand. He's raising his hand. Thank you, Mike.
Hi, this is Mike James. Yes.
Thank you, Mike. City of National City.
Yes to approve.
Okay. City of Oceanside.
This is Tila, and yes, I approve.
Thank you, Tila. City of Poway.
This is Melody, yes to approve.
City of San Marcos.
Nick has his hand raised on the attendee side. I can't remember if he were able to bring him over. He might have a device issue, but his hand is raised.
Yeah, this is Nick Aboud. I want to abstain as well.
Okay, abstain.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to City of Mr. Vice Chair. Is Minji here?
I see him on the staff side, on the organizer side.
Okay.
Minji, are
Maybe
you there?
his audio isn't working.
He's had some audio issues from time to time. We'll come back.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Minji. City of Vista.
Or send us a chat.
City of Vista, Sam Hassanen, yes. Did you hear me?
Sam?
All right, thank you.
You got it.
Thanks.
City of Solana Beach.
This is Jim, City of Solana Beach, yes.
Got it, thank you. County of San Diego.
Okay. Well, I think you have enough votes for to pass it, so I'll abstain at this time.
Okay.
All right.
And we don't have Caltrans here, correct?
We don't have the voting member from Caltrans.
Okay. So should we go back to Santee, see if Minji's available?
Mr. Vice Chair,
him in the chat saying yes.
Okay, got it.
Oh, thank you.
All right, that's all the votes, Ellison.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll move on to item number 3, public comments. So this is for any item not on the agenda, public that the public would wish to speak upon. Do we have any hands raised? I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing anything in the chat popping up. Okay, so I'm gonna assume we don't have any public comments. Is it safe to move on, Ellison?
I believe so, Chair. I don't see any.
Fantastic. All right.
I'm seeing what you're. Yeah, we're ready to move on.
We'll move to item number 4, Regional Arterial Management System update. Mr. Glowacki.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jim. So this report or discussion traditionally happens in the spring. So this is kind of we're 4 months late on this due to the pandemic. So there's been quite a bit of action this last year in terms of what we've been working on infrastructure-wise and application-wise with both Transparity and ICMS, as well as the interlocking with other Caltrans systems such as the ramp metering. So if anyone recalls, over the last couple of years, we've been investing in a systematic refresh of all of your servers, as well as laying the groundwork for a total system refresh for ICMS. So if you recall, RAMS, or Regional Arterial Management System, really is the ground floor of a larger pyramid of how this region talks to each other in terms of traffic management. And with the concept of ICMS along the I-15 corridor, there is how we distribute information and data to trigger response plans and push out those response plans to the arterials. So that is just kind of a refresher of what RAMS is all about, and why it's such an integral part of what we're trying to do as a region, and feeding into the 5 big moves: connected corridors, next OS, so on and so forth. So to bring everybody up to speed here now, I think that we have completed the distribution and installation of all of the new network and all of the new servers for the region. Now, I know that we've had some feedback and some concerns related to how the age of some of these new servers were first purchased a couple of years ago, and the delays that we faced in terms of deploying those. And the delays really were planned, if you will, because we were lacking that interface with Transparity to ICMS for the corridor agencies. So as we move forward, we've kind of looked at what we're going to do here in the near future, that in terms of refreshing that equipment more frequently, and as technology progresses and the prices of servers come down, we'll be able to pull those, do these refreshes more frequently, and more on the, in the neighborhood of, every 3 years, instead of that 7 or 8 years that it took, from the first iteration to where we stand now. Now, on the Transparity front and the interface with Transparity ICMS, that work is nearly complete. So we are now in a phase that we are doing final testing before we cut those final agencies over along the corridor. And once that occurs, we will be able to distribute that new model where agencies will be able to start sharing that traffic signal timing data with each other, like they did during the QuickNet days. Furthermore, the interface with the ramp meters at the top of the corridor that have always been a challenge in the Escondido region there will come online as well. So we'll be able to trigger those response plans and get that data distributed to all of the users here in the near future. So we plan on wrapping this work up by the end of this month, and have the full feature set available sometime in August. Now, the final aspect of this, of course, is that with the challenges of COVID-19, we are limited with our site visits. Really, it depends on what the agency, what our partner agencies and local jurisdiction rulings are in terms of external contractors or SANDAG staff visiting the on-site. So we have faced a few challenges with that, but we're working through those, and I think that we're nearly complete or close to being complete with any site visits that are required for these last couple items that will get us fully onto Transparity. So that's kind of the briefing. I think that as stated in the staff report, we're still looking at a flat cost model for the following year. I think that just about every agency was already programmed in, so there wasn't really a need for any kind of further action in terms of getting buy-in or approval for more money. And then I think that there's, I've stated this before, that there are some cost saving opportunities available to us in the near future in terms of the network. One of the feature sets of Transparity is that it does not require the larger like domain forest root and Microsoft Active Directory to function. It is purely on a application level. So, you know, while we still do have a closed network that has performed well, if we decide to move forward, especially with just the nature of the economy and looking for places that we could perhaps save money in the near future, the network would probably be a good target for us to discuss. So essentially, Transparity, in order to function, basically just needs an internet connection. So that discussion would need to take place with the local IT departments in terms of where you'd want that Transparity server to sit in their in corporate network. Some IT departments they embrace that. Others have a little bit of caution about it. So that's something that we can probably look to discuss here. You know, I would say probably Q2, maybe Q3 in terms of, you know, of how to move forward on this, because we'll start to look at what the budget looks like for 2022 at that time. And so like always, it's open for discussion. I'm here to, you know, be your partner and help with any concerns, and to feed those concerns back to Sandag Internal and our contractor, McCain. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions or discussion, and be happy to answer any.
All right, looking for questions from members. Raise your hand. Open up your video.
Hi, Mr. Chair, I have a question, but where is the hand in my, is that under the chat or away?
We don't have the chat feature. Excuse me, you don't have the raise hand feature when you are on the staff side. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So just turn on your video. This is for everyone. Just turn on your video and wave at us, and we'll give you the floor.
Or send a chat.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sabir.
Thank you. So I think now, since we are moving to a new era with the CAV, with the connected automated vehicle, we in the public agency need to understand better the policy and the responsibility of the system of the local agency versus the Sandag as holding the RAM's, you know, signal system. You know, for example, if we get a,
so there should be documentation of it.
I think somebody's talking. We're good.
Hi, this is production. Yeah, there's many open mics right now. Can everybody please mute themselves other than who's speaking? We're getting lots of background noise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Production. So I really need to understand now more than before the policy and the, if you want, of this cooperative regional agreement regarding the signal parameters, signal timing and signal phasing and all that stuff. So if we get approached by a company that wants the data from our signals, and the how does your RAMs enter into that formula? Is Sandag also open to that company to get the data? And if the company is a private versus public and all that stuff. So we really need to focus a little bit more on that specific area, so we understand where do we stand on this one here. And if it's, you know, I mean, I don't know, it's it started as sharing data between us as a regional, and I think that's great, but it really needs to go a lot further than that, than just sharing the data, but sharing the data basically with the smart cards and the smart cities like Sandag is looking at. And we need to understand where do we stand on that. So I know, Stan, you may not be able to answer the question in general, but maybe you guys need to think about it and start really getting into that domain of the connected automated vehicle with respect to the traffic signal data or traffic signal infrastructure. You know, so and with that, I'll keep quiet.
Yeah, Zabir, thank you for that. And you're right, I don't really have a direct answer for that other than I know that that is on the radar for the larger picture for the region within the 5 big moves. Now, how we decide to move forward in terms of, you know, an MOU or some sort of agreement like that between all the agencies in terms of sharing of data, that's something that's definitely on the radar. And you know, this kind of forum is where, you know, that can be the catalyst to form that MOU based on, you know, input from Stantec members, and then we can you know, run with that. So that's kind of the short answer, but yeah, the bigger picture is that it is on the radar for Sandag, definitely.
Thank you, Stan.
Alex, do you want to jump in?
Yes, can you guys see me and then also hear me, just to confirm?
Yes.
No, Sabir, you're raising some great points. One of the kind of parallel efforts that we are going to be undertaking to advance what you've been hearing about the 5 big moves, and there's 2 specific elements. Well, one specific element is the next OS. One of the things that we're trying to get going now is the update to the Itas architecture, and within the context of this regional vision, the next OS. If you guys might have been involved in the earlier update, I think about 1.5 years with Peter, but because of this sort of next OS 5 vision, we had to defer kind of the visionary component of the ITS architecture. I think he did a great job in documenting the existing baseline conditions. But one of the things that we're going to get going really over the next months and trying to get a team on board to help us do that is aligning all the ITS architecture elements associated with advancing all these issues that you're just raising one, Subir, but linking not only the use cases and the communications platforms and the possible technologies, but also taking a look at sort of the underlying agreements, because we recognize that a lot of the work that we've done in the past is sort of from a public agency, but the ITS architecture is also going to look at sort of the private industry where we stand. So there's more to come, and I think right now we're just trying to get a work plan together to get some of those answers answered. I mean, there's a lot of efforts that we're undertaking at the regional that will feed into this. For example, we did a privacy impact assessment. We're working with our other team at Sandag. They are doing kind of a mobility data platform needs assessment. I'm working on a TISML regional plan. So all these pieces are going to come together through the ITS architecture, and also as we start developing pilot projects or what have you, or projects that have a ConOps already completed or system recs, kind of advancing that within the umbrella of this ITS architecture. Hopefully I answered your question, Subir, but this is that's something that we're kind of thinking about right now.
Yeah, and then that's great. I really totally agree. Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to jump in. I just wanted to finish my, a little few of my thought is that because we really are proud of our region of having the RAMs as a centralized traffic signal system information or data, whatever you want to call it, it really is important that for us as a local agency, we represent only 1/20th of the RAMs. So if we get approached by these manufacturers or whatever for the CAV, somehow we need to centralize that. And if we do, then somehow Sandag start realizing, at least when it gets to the traffic signals, that's our domain, that's the one we work here. It's a shared platform that Sandag can just go and make their own decision and says this is what's best for Sandag. It really is a partnership relationship of the regional players, which are really the foundation. They are the pillars of the system, and Sandag being the managing the bigger pictures and making sure that whatever locally gets approved, it also meets some of the goals of the regional level. So that's why I think it's important that we work together, very closely together on this, and especially as times comes in. I mean, we really are looking at where probably, the car needs to read everything from the traffic signal, and that's very important. Because also we have the liability issue from our perspective, that we need to be careful on. So with that, I'm gonna pass on that.
Sounds good. So thank you. Sam, it looked like you either wanted to jump in or had a question. Sam, I can't hear you. You might be on mute.
Yeah, I did mute myself. So can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so just to build on what Alex said, and we've had some of these conversations with Sandag already, kind of a more basic thing that we've had a concern about is how we connect into the central server, and which is the reason why the City of Vista is not on RAMs right now, although we still support the idea and the concept, and we still pay into the system. However, from a technical standpoint, we cannot be part of it just from an IT network kind of standpoint. And we're looking hopefully for Sandag to look for kind of more solutions that work with different cities, network restrictions and so on, maybe like a cloud solution where we can connect to a cloud server rather than physically to a server at Sandag, because that is not workable for our city at this point. I think a couple other cities have issues with that too. So I just kind of wanted to throw that in there.
Gotcha. Great. There we go.
Sam, yeah, I can kind of talk to that point a little bit there. And if you recall, the old architecture required that each server be part of a larger forest and a kind of an old school domain. And the new architecture, Transparity doesn't require you to be directly connected to the network. We kept that architecture just because of simplicity, but I think that Kevin Drummond might have even had a site visit with you guys before COVID hit and kind of laid out some of the feature sets and options for Transparity to connect in. And I think that your case would be a great pilot to test that functionality. So we would want to work with your local IT to get that server that's the Transparity server within your own corporate network, and then have an outbound connection via a VPN or a cloud solution. So that is on the table. That is available.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Stan, can you explain what they don't like at the City of Vista?
So there's concern that the server has to be dual homed for some local agencies. So for instance, in Vista's case, their traffic engineers are within their local corporate domain, and to get to that server, the server is attached to an external connection. So that kind of violates some corporate IT policies, security policies, that you can't have a server connected to two different sources. So that is really the basis of Vista's concern, and it is a valid concern. You wouldn't want to have a server dual homed or dual connected if it's sitting within your corporate domain. So that in itself is part of the reason why Transparity was developed the way it is, because McCain understands that the application needs to be accessed internally by corporate IT folks as well as internally by traffic engineers. And so that's why that feature set was developed in there. So it doesn't require a closed loop connection like the traditional QuickNet or other networks were originally architected.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Great. I want to keep an eye on the time, but do we have other questions or comments on this topic?
Chair, I want to make sure we have time for public comment. I'm monitoring the attendee side to make sure if anyone from the public has anything they want to say regarding this issue.
Thank
This
you.
agenda
Yeah,
item.
if you do speak now. Otherwise, I think we might move on.
Okay, we have Ali Shahzad from the city of Temecula, an old friend to Santec. Can we turn Ali on? Arthur, can we turn Ali Shahzad on the attendee side to speak publicly?
Looks like he's self-muted right now.
Yes, that's correct. He's unmuted, but he may have hit the mute button himself.
Okay. How about now, Ali? It looks like he's unmuted. Oh.
It looks like he's logging back in.
Okay.
So we got 2 logins. I'll unmute the second one also.
Ali, can you try again? We would love to hear from you. Huh.
Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, as all you guys know me, but let me turn the other sound settings down to 0. Hold on. It's gonna. Okay, that's better. Yeah, the raised question is about this outside companies looking for data collection from signal data, and I'll mention the name of the company is TTS. We've had the same thing. I've had that issue when I was working in San Diego County, now in Riverside County, looking to get that data from your servers. Our transparency server is shared by our IT department up here. So it's not a standalone server like we used to have it in San Diego County in the RAM system. But I'm just curious if any city, and I know at one point, City of San Marcos was looking into sharing that data with the vendor directly, and I don't know, they sell it to third parties and they use it themselves for providing it to car companies that have the technology to give you that information on when the next green band is going to be hitting the core. Have you guys looked at agreements? And if so, have you guys looked at agreements with Caltrans as well? Or if Caltrans has come up with any agreements? Up here in Riverside County, we have had Caltrans agree to it with an agreement, and they are pushing that data out. So I just wanted to see what is going on in San Diego County with that. Hello.
Thank you, Ali.
Sure.
Anyone on the Santec panel would like to respond to Ali?
This is Zubair. I think Ali wants to know about the RAMS agreement for Sandag, but the county is now working closely with the company, a signal company for a cloud data. So that and that's specifically for, so that way the next move on the CAV will be very easy. Then we can just open a gate in the cloud for the CAV company to take the data from there. So that's and then there is a lot of places around the nation, really, running to do this stuff here. I think, but I think Ali really is wanted to know more from Sandag as the Rams working with some, so that way, that's
I'm
my
also
understanding from him.
Zubair, I'm also curious on liability issues. They're going to provide that data, and somebody has an accident based saying that, hey, we were following the data the city provided. I know you'd want to do a hold harmless or a disclaimer on something like that, but
you want me to answer you honestly? I don't think there is any liability. The liability issue was in the long time ago with a very fixed traffic timing and all that stuff. In today's world, they're all actuated, and so it's very hard to pinpoint that the data is the one that caused the accident. So at least from my perspective, or my knowledge, it's not a huge issue. Maybe the lawyer will give it to you, but not me.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I think we'll move on. Ellison, looking at the time, we're still limited to 10:30.
Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and table our COVID discussion for today, unfortunately, because we do have a hard stop in 9 minutes.
Agreed.
I recommend that we table our COVID discussion. We'll have, just for everyone on the telecast today, I did include 3 reports that Sandag Infobits bulletins that we have created for COVID-related impacts to the freeway system, and wanted to make sure that you saw that in your agenda item. There is I don't know if we're going to do a 4th one, but I certainly am working on the data side with monitoring, what's going on the freeway, and would like to have a healthy discussion if time permitted. But at this point, I think we will table this item to our August meeting, along with potentially our State of the Commute report for 2019, as much as that's even relevant at this point, talking about 2019 traffic, given everything we've been through the last 6 months. But Chair, let's go ahead and table this and bring it back in August and move on.
Sounds good. Let's move to item 6, Caltrans updates. I believe we've got Rob Owen on the line.
Yes, I hope you can hear me. Good morning. The couple of points I'll highlight in the report are the upcoming deadlines for the active transportation grant program. That is going to be on September 15th. And that's an extended deadline from the CTC, both for federal and state projects. The Highway Safety Improvement Program deadline is September 5th. Again, there's an extension on that, but there's a couple of changes in the inactive project list. The next deadline is August 20th. And that's really all the points I wanted to highlight. I appreciate Ellison for getting the updates to you every month that you haven't been meeting. So if there were any questions about any other items on there, I am available.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rob. Any questions from the group or public? I'm not seeing any. So in the interest of time, I think we'll move on. Thank you, Rob.
Mr. Chair, before you go.
Yes.
Is this like matters to members?
Well, not quite yet, but we'll get there.
Oh, okay, good.
Just sort of Caltrans update specific for now. All right, Rob, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Again, Chair, for the record, Chair, I don't see any hands raised, so we have no comments from the public.
Thank you. Okay, so now, Zubair, moving on to matters from members. Sounds like you've got something. Oh, I'm sorry.
Chair,
number 7, CTAC update. Mario, or are you around and available?
Yeah, I'm here, but I didn't attend the CTAC meeting. Maybe Alex is still on the line. He can give an update.
Alex, are you there and able?
Yeah.
Or I can do it. Sorry.
Sorry,
Oh.
go ahead.
Yeah, Minji, you know, you're a member. Why don't we defer to Minji as a member of both?
Yes, Minji, welcome. Glad we got you back on audio.
Yes, sorry about that. Yeah, there were really only two items. One is regarding SB1, regarding the annual project submittal and the annual expenditure report. So both of them, the CTC has pushed the deadline back about 2 months. So if that matters to you. And also an overview of the 2021 RTIP update. Basically, that was it. That's all.
Fantastic. Any questions for Minji?
Just, no, Minji did a great job. This is Alex. The other item is we initiated a COVID-19 discussion as well. We ran out of time and we only had, I think, 3 or 4 agencies, but due to the current circumstances, our approach is to have that as a standing item so then local agencies can share lessons learned or experiences as they open up, or if they open up to the public. That's all.
Sounds good. Thank you. And yeah, that might not be a bad idea for us to do as well, to keep it in an ongoing item.
Agreed, Chair.
I am not seeing any hands raised or questions in the chat. So for the record, I think no other questions, and we could move on then to item number 8, matters from members. Now, Zabir, I believe you had an item.
Yes. No, I wanted to ask something, and just a quick on the COVID-19 with respect to our meeting. You want us to share as it relates to traffic engineering and how we're dealing with COVID-19, not just COVID-19 in general, like health issues or whatever it is, right? Is that correct? For this, to bring it to Santec, is really as it relates to traffic engineering or traffic operation. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, we were looking to see, if agencies had questions, first of all, but if you have implemented any policies that you thought might be of interest to others, maybe closed streets to improve bicycle traffic, or made bicycle improvements, temporary bicycle improvements, things along those lines.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, no, that's what I thought. So next time when I come in, at least I can think about things. And then I know we have a project, part of those Sandec grant, that we did. So we'll be happy to share with you. But it really is, my question is that it still goes back to I wanted to share this with the committee, is it goes back to the CAV. And in today's world is we as a traffic engineer are in a greater hunger for knowledge in ITS and the CAV. And this knowledge now, I guess unless you have a PhD from some universities, it really is more concentrated in a very specific domains or very specific enterprises or whatever, like maybe the automobile companies or the FHWA doing something. So having said that, we really need to look at the policy, Sandec policy, bring in somebody that works from the outside to teach us. Because if we get approached as individually, you say, yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know if I should do that or not. And you don't have the knowledge, a lot of knowledge in this area, especially when it relates to CAV. So I'm wondering if Sandec goes back to the drawing board and start thinking about, hey, for these guys here, they really need that knowledge. We need to bring it. And maybe we make it every so often, bring in some companies that deals with this and present to us their product or their technology or their research or whatever it is. So it really is, I just feel like we're truly in a hunger or in need of that knowledge to be able to be an effective traffic engineer for our region. And I leave it there.
Gotcha. Thank you. I think that comment might make a good segue into some upcoming agenda items. but before I do that, any other matters from members? We are quickly running out of time. I am not seeing any, so I would like to move to matters from, or I'm sorry, upcoming agenda items. Zabir, I know we've talked with Ellison and Sandag about bringing in vendors or professionals in that have that level of expertise. We've got some limitations on how that can happen. I use that as a transition to upcoming agenda topics. We've also been kind of dancing around a general discussion about Sandtech, how we operate, what our purpose is, what our needs are. And so we do have a need to continue that conversation and figure out if we need to change how we are organized, how we operate, and make sure that our charter is in line with sort of our purpose or what we hope to get out of this group. So be thinking about that topic and looking for that on a future agenda for this group. With that, Ellison, I'll try and wrap things up. Are there any other upcoming agenda topics from the group that we need to be aware of or interested in? Again, I'm not seeing anything.
I am not either, Chair.
Okay. So our next meeting is scheduled for August 20. So I believe with that, we will adjourn. Thank you all for participating and bearing with us as we work out the kinks on our first online meeting. Look forward to hearing from you online next time.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.